Hello, I'm Marilyn McMahon, not Nicole Fitzhugh, but I am also a member of the Board of Trustees. Welcome, fellow members, friends, visitors, and newcomers to First Unitarian Church of Oakland. We strive to be an ever more inclusive and anti-oppressive religious community. Whatever your background, however society labels you, however you self-identify, we're glad you have chosen to be here with us this morning. Whatever's in your heart, whether burdens or joys, all of you is welcome here. If you're new to our church, we invite you to fill out the online guest connection card so that we can help you explore what our community has to offer. If you're attending on Zoom, the link is in the chat. And if you're here in person, look for a gray card in a seat back in front of you, which has the link and the QR code on it. Also, after the service, right after the service, there will be a 10-minute orientation for newcomers. Meet Emily Stoper right here down in front of the pulpit. She will answer any questions you have about the church. Good morning. Now for the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land and the peoples who belong to this land, the Lishan Ohlone peoples. Our churches, institutions, and homes are occupying their lands, ancestral and current. We acknowledge that the lands were stolen from the Ohlone peoples, who have an ancestral relationship with this land, the plants, the animals, and the water, for millennia, continuous to the present day. Ohlone people are still here. We also recognize that the Ohlone ancestors, in spirit and of the land, are present. In solidarity with all Indigenous people and their right to self-determination and justice, we commit to working toward accountability of the theft, dispossession, and resulting trauma Native peoples continue to face, which persists to this day. So may we live.
Before I introduce our guest musician today, we have someone among us who has a birthday. So Frank? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Frank. Happy birthday to you. Thanks for being here on your birthday, Frank. Well, I am so happy to introduce you to our guest musician, Jennifer Berezan. The Canadian-born singer who moved here in 1986. And Jennifer, I'm happy to introduce you to my people. So Jennifer is a unique blend of singer, songwriter, producer, and activist. Over the course of her 10 albums, and she does have some CDs in Venti Hall that will be for sale after the service, one of her CDs is called Returning, that she recorded in a 6,000-year-old underground sound chamber in an ancient temple in Malta. So Jennifer's music has been shaped by her lifelong involvement in environmental, women's, and justice movements, as well as Buddhist practice. Since 1997, Jennifer has been teaching a class at the California Institute of Integral Studies in San Francisco entitled The Healing Ecstasy of Sound, exploring music as a spiritual practice. I first experienced Jennifer's music and her genius for organization and collaboration back in 2003 when a group of us attended a large-scale theatrical piece called Praises for the World at the Oakland Scottish Rite Center. By chance, were any of you there in 2003? It was quite wonderful. And in fact, her music struck such a strong chord with me that when I was going to seminary at Star King School for the Ministry, each morning my spiritual practice included listening to a CD of praises for the world. The holiest words I've ever read or thought or sung or prayed were praises for the world. I love it that a few years ago, the city of Berkeley recognized Jennifer as an artist of note and declared April 2020 Jennifer Berezan Month. Recently, Jennifer celebrated the 4-year anniversary of Sing and Awaken with Holly Near as her guest that evening. And so for the past 4 years, through the time of the pandemic, every Monday evening, Jennifer has created an opportunity for people to spend an uplifting hour on Zoom with her and a virtual community that gathers each week to sing, chant, and meditate together. So when Jennifer sings at Sing and Awaken, we sing along with her, but we're muted. And so today, you are welcome to sing along unmuted. So Jennifer, thank you so much for being here. A warm welcome.
Good morning. Join me in our chalice lighting words. We light this chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism. May it remind us of the divine spark in all of creation, of the power of love to heal what is broken and to be grateful for life's blessings each day. Our candle lighting words. We light the peace candle to inspire us to be peacemakers and to give us courage to face the pain of the world with hope, that peace and justice may triumph everywhere. Together we say, peace is possible. We light our Black Lives Matter candle. We work for justice, safety, and equality in the Black community. Together we say, Black Lives Matter. We come to remember to whom and to what we belong, steeped in our culture's story that we are separate, that surviving and thriving can be calculated by what we do for ourselves and those near. We find ourselves swimming in the waters of loneliness.
And so we long for a new story, a new song, to feel that once close stirring and rhythm from deep within that tells us who we are does not end at the barrier of our skin.
The trees, the child skipping on the other side of the world.
The river running from the mountains to our cupped hands and thirsty mouths. The mother crying in a camp long ignored.
These are ours. These are us. They are extensions of our skin, of our hearts.
We gather today to know this once again, to receive the blessing of remembering that to which we truly belong. In one voice, let us say together, Come, let us worship together. We do this. You song, it's called Gathered Here, so why don't you rise in body or spirit? And what we're going to do is sing it through once in unison, and then we will dare to sing it in a round, with Marilyn leading this half, and I will lead this half. We'll then sing it through 3 times as a round. I'm crackling. Can you turn my mic off, maybe?
Today, we have a story for all ages. I invite all youth, all young at heart, or just all those looking to hear a little bit to come on up. You can also stay where you are if that's what you prefer. Our story today is from The Little Prince. It was then. No, I can wait. Our story begins with a little fox approaching our prince. It was then that the fox appeared. "I am a fox," the fox said. "Come and play with me," proposed the little prince. "I am so unhappy." "I cannot play with you," the fox said. "I am not tamed." "What does that mean, tame?" the prince asked. "It is an act too often neglected," said the fox. "It means to establish ties. To me, you are still nothing more than a little boy who is just like 1,000 other little boys, and I have no need for you. And you, on your part, have no need for me. To you, I am nothing more than a fox, like 100,000 other foxes. But if you tame me, then we shall need each other. To me, you will be unique in all the world. To you, I shall be unique in all the world." "I am beginning to understand," said the little prince. "My life is very monotonous," said the fox. "I hunt chickens, men hunt me. All the chickens are just alike, and all the men are just alike. And, in consequence, I'm a little bored. But if you tame me, it will be as if the sun came to shine on my life. I shall know the sound of a step that will be different from all the others. Other steps send me hurrying back underneath the ground. Yours will call me, like music, out of my barrow. And then look, you see the grain fields down yonder? I do not eat bread. Wheat is of no use to me. The wheat fields have nothing to say to me, and that is sad. but you have hair that is the color of gold. Think how wonderful that will be when you have tamed me. The grain, which is also golden, will bring me back the thought of you, and I shall love to listen to the wind in the wheat. The fox gazed at the prince for a long time. Please, tame me, he said. I want to, very much, the little prince replied, but I have not much time. I have friends to discover and a great many things to understand. One only understands the things that one tames, said the fox. Men have no more time to understand anything. They buy things all ready-made at the shops. But there is no shop anywhere where one can buy friendship. And so men have no friends anymore. If you want a friend, tame me. What must I do to tame you? Asked the little prince. You must be very patient, replied the fox. First, you will sit down at a little distance from me, like that, in the grass. I shall look at you out of the corner of my eyes, and you will say nothing. Words are the source of misunderstandings. But you will sit a little closer to me every day. So every day, the little prince visited the fox, and each day he sat a little closer and a little closer and then a little closer. So the little prince tamed the fox. And when the hour of his departure grew near, "Ah," said the fox, "I shall cry." "It is your own fault," said the little prince. "I never wished you any sort of harm, but you wanted me to tame you." "Yes, that is so," said the fox. "Then it has done you no good at all." "It has done me good," said the fox, "because of the color of the wheat fields." And then the time came for the fox and the little prince to say goodbye. "Goodbye," said the little prince. "Goodbye," said the fox. "And now, here is my secret, a very simple secret. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." "What is essential is invisible to the eye," the little prince repeated, so that he would be sure to remember. "And you must not forget that you become responsible forever for what you have tamed," said the fox. "I am responsible for what I have tamed," the little prince repeated, so that he would be sure to remember.
There's a river in all of my favorite songs, a yearning so sweet, deep and wide, an old boat on the shore with a couple of oars to take you to the other side. And if I had a river and I had a song, I would sail off into the blue. I'd set out tonight in the Shenandoah night, sing this song for you. Hey na na na, hey na na. Hey now, darling, don't you cry. I will rock you on the water with my river. La la. Try singing the hey na na part. Hey na na, hey na na. If you call me, I'll be right. I will rock you on the water with my river. There's a broken heart in everyone. I think I know how hard it can be. All the dreams that have died, all the stories that lied, all the sorrow that won't let you be. And if I was a painter, I'd make you day with the sun in the sky, baby blue, and you in my arms, laughing and warm. Now I whisper these words to you. Hey na na na, hey na na. Hey now, darling, don't you cry. I will rock you on the water with my river. La, la. Hey na na, hey na na. If you call me, I'll be by. I will rock you on the water with my river. La,
One of my favorites. So kids, we're going to sing you out. And is this when they're going to be dying some Easter eggs, or is that after the service? Okay, so go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. This morning, instead of inviting you to get up and greet one another during the service, I hope you will greet one another after the service in Venti Hall for our potluck lunch. But for now, I would like you to take a moment to think about your mood. So what is in your heart and your mind this morning? How would you describe your mood if you were a weather system? So today, are you feeling sunny, like the spring weather that we've been having? Or perhaps more tumultuous, like you're a hurricane or a tornado? Or rainy or foggy? So think for a moment, tune into yourself, your internal weather, and then turn to someone near you and take turns sharing what weather system you would be today. So go ahead, and then when I ring a bell, it'll be time to come on back.
When I was a theological student in Rochester, New York, very late one night, I was returning to the seminary by way of Main Street, the central artery of traffic for the city. The hour was so late that streetcars ran only infrequently, and there was almost no traffic. As I walked along, I became aware of what seemed to be the sound of rushing water. I realized that I had been hearing this rumbling for quite some time, but had only suddenly become aware of it. The next day, I was talking about this with one of my professors, who told me that for a certain distance under Main Street, there was a part of the old Erie Canal. This was the sound of water I had heard. The sound itself was continuous, but when there was the normal traffic in the daytime, the sound could not be heard. It was only when the surface noises had stopped that the sound came through. This is analogous to the mystic's witness of God within, whose presence may not become manifest until the traffic of the surface life is somehow stilled. This is what is meant by the experience of centering down.
I was born in '61. Seemed the world had just begun. There were a million things you could put your faith in. And I was raised on Herman Hess, women's rights, left politics, and Bob Dylan before he got religion. We knew that we could make it right. We changed this world overnight. We sang and we marched and we believed. But years they come and years they go. Where you'll end up, nobody knows. Now sometimes I feel like I can hardly breathe. Take me to the mountain, sing me an old song and remind me what it means. 'Cause I'll always be a child of that history, weaving the future out of yesterday's dreams. I was just a child back then, 71, well I was just 10, but there was something in those winds of change that moved me. Voices echoed across the land in a language I could understand, and like some lightning bolt, they burned right through me. And I used to believe that life's a road you're traveling, a straight shot down until you reach the promised land. But lately I've come to see that life's a river rambling. Each day you wake and try to do the best you can. Oh, take me to the mountain, sing me an old song and remind me what it means. 'Cause I'll always be a child of that history, weaving the future out of yesterday's dreams, weaving the future out of yesterday's dreams.
Each day we wake up and try to do the best we can. None of us really knows what each new day will bring. Here's an excerpt from a poem by David White called The House of Belonging. This is the good day when you could meet your love. This is the gray day when someone close to you could die. This is the day you realize how easily the thread is broken between this world and the next. There is no house like the house of belonging. What we know is that today we are alive and together, in person and on Zoom, each of us with joys and sorrows. And because this is a house of belonging, we take time each Sunday to share our joys and sorrows. So I'd like to begin by sharing 2 joys and 1 sorrow. The first joy is that yesterday a group of us welcomed over 100 pilgrims into our building who were marching with the East Bay Interfaith Gaza Ceasefire pilgrimage. So we were a rest stop where they were able to come in and refill their water bottles and use the bathroom and get a bite to eat before proceeding on the rest of the route. So we did have some pictures taken of the pilgrims coming in and of the group of us who welcomed them. But maybe we don't have those pictures. There we go. So there's the pilgrims, and then here's the group of us who came early and gave them the hospitality. The second joy is that last night, this sanctuary was filled with people and music because Ellen Robinson was here for the 43rd time that she had a concert with the Anything Goes chorus. And so that was just really a wonderful, wonderful event that was joyful and lived up to its name because the concert was called Welcome to the Joy. And the sorrow is that we did lose a member of our community yesterday when Daphne Parson died. Thankfully, it was a peaceful death. Daphne had been under hospice care and visited regularly by our pastoral care team and by Reverend Mary Foran, and there will be a celebration of her life in May. So watch for that date. And so now in a moment, a bell will sound, and you are invited to speak aloud what is in your heart this morning. For those of you on Zoom, you're welcome to put your joys and sorrows in the chat box or in the chat room, and I'll read them out loud. Let's begin.
sure you found out she has the rest of the answer.
Any diplomats who might be able to talk to Putin?
And I apologize to those on Zoom because apparently we're having some sound problems. But Corliss Smith wrote, "Dear Daphne, you were so lovely and sweet. How good it was to know you." So for all that has been spoken out loud, and for those things that remain in the silent sanctuaries of your hearts, too tender perhaps to speak out loud, may you be held in the embrace of this community and join me in saying, we hold them in our care. Okay, so now relax. Adjust your body so that you feel centered and held by the earth. Become aware of your breath, slow and easy, one breath at a time, one breath at a time. So let's breathe together for a few moments. Bless you, in silence.
One breath, one breath, one breath at a time. One breath, one breath at a time. Where are you now? I've come to find you, to wake you slowly, gently remind you, a ringing bell, a flickering light, growing brighter in the night. One breath at a time. One breath, one breath, one breath at a time. One breath at a time. When you are lost on the rocky sea, battered by the rising tide, I'll be I will speak your name. When this world is gone, tell me what will remain. You're the sky that holds the moon that waves, the tumbling stars, the falling rain. One breath at a time. One breath, one breath, one breath at a time. One breath at a time. One breath, one breath, one breath at a time. One breath at a time.
I have been thinking of the difference between water and the waves on it. Rising, water still water. Falling back, it is water. Will you give me a hint how to tell them apart? Because someone has made up the word wave, do I have to distinguish it from water? There is a secret one inside us. The planets in all the galaxies pass through her hands like beads. That is a string of beads one should look at with luminous eyes.
Can't say I was looking the moment that it found me. It was springtime in the mountains, and everything around me was ringing with a silence like I have never heard. My mind dissolving in the light, and I cannot find the word. Gone, gone, gone beyond everything I know. Gone, gone, gone beyond, fading like the April snow. A painting formed in grains of sand. Gone, gone beyond, swept away by empty hands. Gone, gone beyond. Gate, paragate, parasongate, bodhisattva. Gate, No more past, gone, gone beyond. Waves of wind in blades of grass, gone, gone beyond. Chant it with me. Gate, paracate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, paracate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, paracate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gone is birth, gone is death, gone, gone beyond. Vanished in a single breath, gone, gone beyond. Gone, gone, gone beyond everything I know. Gone, gone, gone beyond, fading like the April snow. Gate, paracate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, paracate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, paracate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, paracate, parasamgate, bodhisattva.
Thanks, Jennifer. The holiest gap in my resume is the time I spent living in Yosemite. When I was 21 years old, 1 year shy of graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Comparative Literature, I dropped out of UC Davis to go clean toilets in Yosemite Valley. And I ended up spending 5 years there. And fortunately, not all of them cleaning toilets. So this was 1971, a time of upheaval and social change. I realize that some of you maybe weren't even born by then, but I wonder whether others of you remember what that time was like. There was a civil rights movement, the second wave of feminism, rising resistance to the Vietnam War, flower power. The sound of revolution crackled in the air. The times they are a-changin'. When I was a college student, I had marched in demonstrations against the war, shouted truth to power, singing in the streets, participating in sit-ins and encounter groups, raucous rallies on the grassy quad. My young mind was ablaze, while my heart and body ached with longing as I navigated the confusing path of my sexuality. Some may say that I went to Yosemite to escape all this, but the truth is that I was honoring a vow I had made to myself to live there for a cycle of seasons. And what inspired my vow was a sunrise. The summer before I dropped out of college, my friends Mary, Mindy, and I had spent the night at Mary's family cabin in Wawona, which is in the southern part of Yosemite National Park. We got up early the next morning. It was still dark when we left the cabin and drove to a place where we knew we could see the sunrise. We got out of the car and walked through the dim light of the fading night along a path to some granite boulders looking out over the mountains to the east. We were surrounded by the moist stillness of early dawn. The mountains before us looked flat and two-dimensional. We sat without speaking on the hard, cold rock until the light in the sky slowly began to stir, and soon the upper rim of the mountains was etched in gold. Suddenly, the first ray of the sun shot out over the top, and we watched in wonder as the layers of light and air and mountains parted to reveal dazzling dimensions of depth and distance. One of my favorite poems gives words to this moment. It's from a collection of French poetry called Illuminations by Arthur Rimbaud. J'ai embrassé l'aube d'été. I embraced the summer dawn. Nothing yet stirred on the face of the palaces. On the silver summit, I recognized the goddess. Then one by one, I lifted up her veils, and I felt a little her immense body. So that morning when I was 20, as the earth was turning, the sun's rays spilling over the peaks, I embraced the summer dawn. And as her veils lifted, I felt a little her immense body. That powerful young sunlight transformed the slate gray into a riot of colors. Speckled, sparkling granite slabs, cinnamon-colored bark and long green needles of trees, purple wildflowers wet with the morning dew. The blue dreams of sky above me and below me, the ground covered with pine needles and my feet in brown hiking boots and red laces. I was seeing the world with luminous eyes, and I felt immersed in some great love, like music playing all around all the time, even when the busy traffic of my life made it too hard for me to hear. My heart cracked open with wonder. I picked up a granite rock from the ground at my feet and held it up to be blessed in that morning light, like a baptism, marking the experience with something concrete and tangible that I could take back with me into my daily life to help me remember. This is that rock. Seriously. Sometimes in my more cynical moments, I think, like, why do I keep this stupid rock around? I was so young and dramatic. Well, plus, now I realize I shouldn't have taken it from a national park. But you know, it's been over 50 years and I'm not taking it back. In fact, I keep it on my altar to help me remember. To remember what it's like to feel immersed in some great love. How we view reality has a profound impact on how we choose to live our wild and precious lives. Albert Einstein said that the most important decision we make is whether we believe we live in a friendly universe or a hostile universe. And I think our universalist faith, with universal salvation and love at the center, calls us to believe in a friendly universe. My colleague Tom Owen Toll has called those of us who identify as Unitarian Universalists free-thinking mystics with hands. The free-thinking part is easy to see. Our Unitarian faith has paid homage to reason since the 16th century, and we consider our minds as sacred gifts to be fully engaged in our daily living. And the hands part of free-thinking mystics with hands is also easy to see. From the beginning, our followers have been active in making the world a better place through using our hands for direct service through advocacy and community organizing, living our values embodied and out loud. A bone-deep commitment to justice work is in the DNA of both liberal faiths, of Unitarianism and Universalism, that merged together in 1961 to form Unitarian Universalism. But what about the mystic part? Did you know some people have satirized Unitarian Universalism as a demystified religion suffering from an ecstasy deficit? But mysticism is what the first source of our faith is about. Direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder, affirmed in our culture, in all cultures, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces that create and uphold life. I've heard from several of you how much you loved a service here a few weeks ago called Lifting Up Your Mystical Heart. During the service, Jeannie and Kiran Rana and Sarah Watts shared the Sufi practice of zikr, a word which means remembrance. They sang the zikrs of harmony and the gathering, and Kiran shared thoughts on the Sufi way of the heart. I missed the service because I was on a retreat in the Yukon with Jennifer and some of you who are here this morning. And I would venture to say that our mystical hearts were lifted by the beautiful dancing ribbons of green light of the Aurora Borealis, and our time together each day in sacred circles of singing and silence and poetry. Have you had moments that lifted your mystical heart? Take a moment to remember. Perhaps you were in what feels like a sacred place in nature, in the high mountains or a quiet forest, by a rushing river or a shimmering lake. Or perhaps your mystical heart was lifted at a sacred, miraculous moment of birth, or a sacred, mysterious moment of death. In these moments, you may have sensed mysterium tremendum, the tremendous and fascinating mystery at the heart of things that some people call God. How wondrous are these moments when we feel that we're part of something larger than ourselves, with a sense of belonging and purpose, of worthiness and wholeness. These peak moments of awakening can both humble and elevate us, a paradox like the teaching of the great Hebrew theologian Martin Buber, who said that everyone should have two pockets. In one pocket, carry the words, "I am ashes and dust." And in the other pocket, carry the words, "The world was created for me." In a book called Spiritual Emergency, Stanislav and Christina Groff edited a collection of essays, and one of them was by Jack Kornfield, the founder of Spirit Rock Meditation Center in Marin. And he describes how there are times in our lives when things fall apart, like when someone close to us dies, when we're going through a difficult divorce, or when we've been diagnosed with a life-threatening illness like cancer. He writes that in the midst of the profound pain and fear of the unknown, these kinds of crises can trigger profound awakening. He also describes how awakening can be triggered by other kinds of things that we would tend to characterize as positive, such as a powerful sexual experience or childbirth, or he specifically includes illuminations that come through spending time in high mountains. So what do we do with these transcendent moments of awakening as we go on with our lives without our loved one? As we face what may be painful, expensive medical treatment with no guarantee of success? When we come down from the high mountains, or return home after a vacation or a meditation retreat? Can epiphanies and illuminations really make a difference when we resume our daily lives? As Jack Kornfield puts it so wonderfully in one of his books, you know what it is. After the ecstasy, the laundry. As I ponder these questions and strive to stay awake, I realize that I'm less daring now than I was when I was 20. I've experienced so many losses since that Yosemite sunrise. I know much more now about suffering and about the costs and complexity of oppression and privilege. I still appreciate golden sunrises and starry skies and the scent of roses and the taste of ginger. But I also know so much more now about costly, complicated wars and corrupt politicians, about corporate greed and dark money, about hurricanes and climate change, homelessness, human trafficking, racism. Bad things happen to good people, and I don't understand why. With each passing year, I become more aware of my limits and mortality. Having children, Frances and my sons, Marcus and David, and now our grandson, Henry, has made me more guarded and sometimes really scared about the future. All this makes it harder to surrender as I could at age 20 to wonder. You know what I mean? As I continue to contemplate the mysteries of life and death, I find myself dancing among a variety of spiritual practices and beliefs that draw me in. I contain multitudes. I'm attracted to Buddhism and the discipline of meditation. Over and over, I learn the lessons of impermanence. Gone, gone, gone beyond. Nothing remains the same. Live fully in the present moment, wonderful moment, without attachment to the outcome. But oh, how the pagan in me loves the earth. Praises to the world. And oh, how enchanted I am by what David Abrams calls the spell of the sensuous. And oh, how passionately attached I am to so many people and animals and places, and to music and poetry and sushi and wine and blueberries. How I love to grab hold of that tambourine and play it against my warm thigh. For me right now, I just know that I believe in what the fox told the little prince to remember. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. What I hold true is that it is essential that we take time to be kind and tender and forgiving with one another, inviting love into our lives. I believe it's essential for us to be willing to be both the tamer and the tamed, both the little prince and the fox, daring to open our hearts to become attached, but to embrace that love and attachment with full knowledge of its impermanence, of the suffering we are welcoming in. Because someday we will lose our lover, someday we will lose our beloved. But it's the only way that we can learn to love the golden grain and hear the music of the wind in the wheat and the singing of the stars. And that's the idea I was trying to convey with this last picture. It's the drawing of the landscape where the little prince appeared on earth and later disappeared. If you look deeply with your own luminous and loving eyes, you will see that the emptiness contains it all. It says more than I could ever hope to express in words. And it is my offering to you today about what I've learned so far about the great mystery at the heart of things and about love.
And now we have a few announcements. Please join us after worship for our monthly community potluck in Venti Hall. If you didn't bring anything, no worries. There is always enough to go around. There will also be games and puzzles, and we will be dyeing eggs in the patio. Also, after church in Venti Hall, the finance team will be available at a table to share the 2024 budget with interested congregants. Last week, on the 16th, we emailed a special Hope for Us message to sign up for the Saturday, April 13 Action Planning Day. The message also included resources and links to all of our Hope for Us worship services and workshops. Please register by April 8th. If you did not receive the email, please reach out to the administrator at administrator@uuoakland.org. Lastly, next Saturday on the 30th, join the Building and Grounds team for a church spring cleaning. We'll do the regular dusting and polishing, but try also to do some heavier chores. Bring your sponge mop and shark vac, and we will clean the floors on the second floor and vacuum the carpets in the sanctuary and the third floor. Meet us at church at 9:30 on Saturday. We'll wrap up by 1 p.m. At this time in the service, we reflect upon what keeps us coming to First Unitarian Church of Oakland. I am lifted up by the music, the inspiring words, the beautiful building, friendship, and the call to social action. I want this place to be here for future generations. It takes a village. Give generously as you are able. If this is your first time at our church, let the plate pass. Your presence is a gift. 1/2 of our collection through the end of May goes to the Ella Baker Center for Human Rights. Will the ushers come forward?
Fog is slowly lifting, rolling out over the bay. Another Sunday morning, I'll walk in these blues away. I turn the phone to silence, well, I'm watching the kites take flight. A sky of dancing dragons that glitter in the light. I'm tired of being alone. I'm tired of being a slave to this mobile phone. I'm tired of the pull, I'm tired of the shove. I'm ready to fall in love. Maybe with you, maybe not. Maybe with everything I've already got. Like a flower reaching to the sun above. I'm ready to fall in love. I know it's a lot of words, but give it a try. Here we go. Maybe with you, maybe not. Maybe with everything I've already got. Like a flower reaching for the sun above. I'm ready to fall in love. it's been a rough time for almost everyone that I know. The forces of darkness moving towards us, I fear it's spinning out of control. I've been angry for good reason too. I know I don't have to explain it to you, but we all need a break, yeah, we've all had enough, and I'm ready to fall in love. Maybe with you, maybe not, maybe with everything I've already got. Like a flower reaching for the sun above, I'm ready to fall in love. Maybe with you, maybe not, maybe with everything I've already got. Like a flower reaching for the sun above, I'm ready to fall in love.
Oh, let's bless our offering together. To the work of the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love we call community, we dedicate ourselves and these our offerings. Thank you. Song, if you want to rise in body or spirit. It's actually a song that was inspired by Ella Baker. So I'm not sure how many of you know it, but you'll catch on. And maybe turn my microphone off. Give light, and people will find the way. Give light, people will find the way. Give light, and people will find the way. People will find the way, I do believe. Bring love, and people will find the way. Thanks, Jennifer. Bring love, and people will find the way. Bring love, and people will find the way. People will find the way, I do believe. Teach peace, and people will find the way. Teach peace, and people will find the way. Teach peace, and people will find the way. People will find the way, I do believe. Sing out, and people will find the way. Sing out, and people will find the way. Sing out, and people will find the way. People will find the way, I do believe. Bring joy, and people will find the way. Bring joy, and people will find the way. Bring joy, and people will find the way. People will find the way, I do believe. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, we're ready to extinguish our chalice.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Turn my mic on again, thank you. And why don't you face the center, look at somebody across the aisle from you, maybe put your hands on the shoulder of someone in front of you. Make physical connections. We are an interdependent web. And so for our benediction, Jennifer, why don't you come on down here? Come on down. So let's thank Jennifer again for all of the beautiful music. So what we want to do, we can't do it alone. So let us accept life's gifts with grace and gratitude and use them to bless the world in the spirit of love. So be safe, everyone. Sorry we went late, but if you're hungry, we do have food next door. There are also CDs of Jennifer's that you can buy. And so go now in peace and praise life. We are all alive and together. Hallelujah.